Okay, I shall start right now. First thing, then today is about some key topics in L4M3, and as um in the event topic, then I will discuss about some topics like the key contract terms and some uh some KPI as well. So here is the content. First, about the contract terms, then there will be some key terms like about insurance, about indemnity, liability, liquidated damages, and so on. Um, Here, then the other one tend to be um, written in the contract, but insurance could be quite different. It could be become a requirement in the contract and require that the supplier need to purchase some policy covering some aspect like their liability in providing information, for example. So I would like to separate the insurance and other contract terms could be bundled into one or two slides. With insurance, then the type of insurance tend to be the question in the in the exam. And to understand this area, then you need to know about different types of insurance. Um, they may include employee insurance, where the employer need to pay for uh, the damages or uh, injury that some employee may sustain after or during the work. During the work. Product insurance is the policy that covers the liability arising from faulty product. And if that happens, then the customer may require the producer to provide some compensation, and the insurance may provide that. Public insurance is a type insurance that covers the risk of being sued by a third party or some negligence of uh, the insured. And professional indemnity insurance, or PII, covers the liability that is from the professional practitioner, like lawyer or accountant or consultant, where they need to um, compensate the customer due to wrong or faulty advice. And other key contract terms include the indemnity, exclusion of liability, and liquidated damages. Indemnity is a primary cost. It is basically a promise to indemnify or hold another party harmless when some trigger event happen. It's basically a transfer of risk, and it tends to be used when there are risks regarding a third party. Uh, Exclusion, on the other hand, then it helps to reduce the liability or exclude the liability when some extreme events happen, like the item God, like uh, natural disasters or war or worker strike happen. So when these events happen and when the contract has the exclusion of liability, it means that um, the obligor, the one who has the obligation may be exempted from performing the liability. Like they need to pay the damages when they don't perform or only partly perform some certain obligation. With liquidated damages, then it is an attempt to predefine the secondary obligation, and it should be a genuine estimate of possible loss. It should not be confused with penalty, which could be ineffective under some circumstances. We may have other terms like about romanper or retention of title or about termination and arbitration, but these things tend to not be in the exam, but instead you may need to explain them in a format. A little bit more details about the difference between penalty and liquidated damages. Uh, Why, as I said before, liquidated damages is an attempt to predefine the loss. But sometimes then it could be interpreted as a penalty. And the problem is, under some circumstances, the penalty could be ineffective and not binding the other party. So actually, that is an old notion before 2015. This notion is this principle was established at in a case law known as Dunlop versus New Garage. Under this case law, then we have two companies, Dunlop and the distributor. They agreed to sell the tire to the customer at some certain price level, but New Garage sell sold the tires under the price, and according to the contract, then Dunlop may revise some payment from the bridge of that contract term. So this case law require that to be effective, then liquidated damages clause should be a genuine estimate loss and must be expressed in contract and it is enforceable. While on the other hand, penalty is some kind of like exorbitant payment, and it is unenforceable. That is very old notion, and it has changed in 2015, why we have a new case law about uh, liquidated damages and penalty. This is a case law between Cavendish Square versus uh, Magnexi. Under this case law, then both liquidated damages and penalty are enforceable, but they have different purposes. While liquidated damages is an uh, is an attempt to uh, genuinely estimate the possible loss, then penalty is just about deterring the other party from doing what we don't like. So that is simply about deterrence. And if it is the expression of free will of both parties, then it should be enforceable. So after 2015, then both liquidated damages and penalty are enforceable. Unfortunately, CIPS hasn't updated this change, and I can see that according to both study guide and the exam, then they tend to prefer the pre-2015 principles rather than the uh, later principles. So uh, here, then if the question asks about penalty, then absolutely you need to choose it become unenforceable. Unenforceable. Okay. Um, they don't apply post 2015 principle here. About the KPI and SLA, then they could be quite significant in the exam, and many of the questions tend to ask about the KPI. KPI, then, as you know, is the measurement performance, and it could be established using the SMART criteria. We tend to focus on some key KPI like about delivery, or about quality, or about the service or communication. And it tends to be about measuring performance and focusing on the right thing. With KPI, then it could be qualitative or quantitative, and depending on specific circumstances, then we could choose either of them. On other hand, the SLA is the abbreviation for the service level agreement. Then, as you can see, then here we have it is kept by a compound word. We have the agreement. We have the word service level. It's kept like we set up a target for the other party, and it must become an agreement. An agreement could be an independent agreement or could be a part of bigger contract. So with service level agreement, then depending on the circumstances, then there could be some different content. However, at the end, then they are about service and they are about the level of performance. So the content at the core tend to focus on first the scope of service or the definition of service, like about what job needs to be done, about the frequency, about the time, about the location, about the person who performs the service, etc. So that is the scope of service. Second, then it needs to set up a target like the acceptable performance measure and the possible remedy for not achieving target and possible incentive for achieving the target or even uh, performing well. Okay, so that's all for some quick review about the uh, KPI, SLA, and some key contract terms. And I think that we should spend our effort on practicing and answering the question. Okay, so let's try some. There are some questions, and I believe that most of them would be about KPI. Okay, I prepare some. So you may answer it by typing the your option in the chat. Okay, so what is your answer here? Yeah, the answer should be D. Okay, so we need to focus on the performance level of the supplier, and the performance. It should not be about the purchase order each month. It is about the purchase order is about um, the how many we place from the buyer side to the supplier side. That's not their performance. That is our performance. Okay, so we don't measure our performance. That is the job of human resources. We need to measure the performance of supplier, and it should be D about the uh, number of lead delivery, and that is a very important measure about the lead time and delivery of the supplier, about their capacity as well. Okay, so congrats to the people who choose D. You need to select two options in this question. Please go on. A and C. Okay, so most answer telling me A and C. So that is the correct one. Uh, I see an answer about A and E, and E is not correct. It is not about the advantage. It is not about advantage. Instead, then it looks like apply a limit on performance. But that is not how KPI works. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so what is the term that should be used here? Okay, B. A. All right, so most answer is about C, and there are two people opting B. Okay, so for this question, C is correct. And the thing is, this question is about choosing the right class for a certain type risk. Force majeure tend to be about explosion liability, and it should be used when we see that this contract has a high risk of having some kind of uh, major act of God event, like it can be disrupted by a storm. But this question is about the overrun or misdelivery by the supplier, and that could be managed a liquidated by a liquidated damages clause. Okay, so should be C. Next one, I think this one would be quite challenging about the uh, possible contents of an SLA. Okay, so most answer, actually every answer is about D. And of course, that occur, 1, 2, and 3. Here, then we want to know about uh, the key contents within an SLA. And this one should exclude the stuff maintained by the contractor. That is not a good definition of service. Neither it is about anything else. Okay. Next question about the enforceability of a certain clause. Okay, yeah, absolutely. The answer is D. This is just about some certain level of compensation in the case of late delivery. So it is totally acceptable, adequate, and genuine. So it should be it is impossible, and it's just about liquidated damages. Okay, that's D. Next question about the use of KPI. Yeah, so the answer is two and three. Of course, the purpose of KPI includes measuring the performance and correcting the performance as well. Okay, so there are some questions, and although I prepared more questions here, but I feel very tired today, so I think that we need to conclude this. I need to conclude this one early. Sorry for that. You will receive the recording and the slides by Monday. Sorry for ending early, but I'm very tired and I could not continue anymore. Okay, thank you very much, and see you next time.